The fantasy football Entourage are winning.
What up? Hold on. What up, Entourage? Can you guys hear me okay? I don't think I have my mic plugged in. How's everyone doing? Tell you one thing, I've been looking at a lot of your teams, and you guys, at least the Facebook group, looking good. I'm proud of you guys. Yeah, seems like a lot of the guys that we've been high on are starting to break out. Jalen Hurts has been a stud. Herbert's been a stud. Jonathan Taylor, Gibson are starting to get it together. Even Marquez Callaway, Cup's been good all year. So happy to see that. And then this week we got waiver wires. So a lot to go over with that. We can hear you. Perfect. All right, guys. There's quite a few waivers that I want to cover. Like always, there's a lot of waivers that other analysts are going to be touting, and here at Entourage, we're a little more, selective. You guys know a lot of, analysts were touting Elijah Moore in the past, and or not a lot. I was touting Elijah Moore, and that doesn't look too good, but Elijah Mitchell and spending number one waivers on him, that doesn't look too good right now. Because I don't go by players having big games. I go by history. I go by systems. I go by how they actually look, and the competition they play and who they put up these big games against. Because listen, these are all professional athletes. Any single NFL player is capable of putting up a big game, and we've seen it before, or even putting up several big games before they fade or the following year. Look at Myles Gaskin. Even though he's coming off a good week, he had a pretty good year last year. He's a total dud. Drake 2 years ago was a stud. Last year was a total, pretty much a dud. So, analyzing fantasy football is all about predicting things. It's all about taking the information that's given and not just, accepting whatever and saying, just chasing points, but actually trying to predict what's going to happen next. And for that reason, let's start with running backs. There's quite a few that are going to grab people's attention. Daryl Williams being one of them. Daryl Williams, he's not a bad running back. He's not the most talented back, but he's not terrible. He has a couple of positive things going for him. One being that the Kansas City Chiefs, or one being that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was just put on IR. Unfortunate for him, but that does open up opportunities. Now, even Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't getting, workhorse elite usage, and Daryl Williams was actually cutting into his usage. So I don't expect him to be a league winner or anything like that. There's very few of those. But I think he could be a decent flex. He will have somewhat of a low floor, and he has somewhat of a high ceiling as well. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, had a bigger ceiling. Daryl Williams won't have quite his ceiling, but he might be able to be a decent flex. If you need a spot starter, a bye week filler, then yeah, by all means, you could go and use a waiver on Daryl Williams. But there has been rumors that they were looking at Marlon Mack. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring another back in, just for the simple fact the only other back they really have right now is Jerick McKinnon. Well, first of all, Jerick McKinnon is not even a real running back. He's more like a receiver, a hybrid. He won't be getting many carries because when he does, as we've seen before, time and time again, he gets injured. So Daryl Williams, it's not the safest play, but you might at least get a decent week out of him. So that's the situation with Daryl Williams. Hold on 1 second. Let me take a sip of water. I just got out of the gym. Next running back, we have Devonta Booker. Devonta Booker is actually a better play. Maybe not this week. I mean, I still think I would like Devonta Booker even this week over Daryl Williams, just for the simple fact that he would get more touches probably. Now the Rams, not the best matchup, but I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world either. Players who get volume tend to do good, right? At least give you a decent floor, right? So, and then the other thing with Devonta Booker is that he can catch the football. So he's a pretty good receiving back. And he actually had a touchdown on the ground and in the air last week. So it looks like the Giants were giving him the football, which, like I said, is a good thing. So I actually prefer him over Daryl Williams. But, you know, he's a very short-term play. From what it looks like, Saquon Barkley, the ankle looked real bad, but it looks like it's only going to be a low ankle sprain. So he'll probably miss this next week. But there's a good chance he could be back for week 7, which is why Devonta Booker is more of a, you know, short-term play. Now, Alex Collins is probably the running back I like the most because he has the best opportunity to be a starting running back. The only problem is that he has the toughest matchup. He's going against Pittsburgh. So if you need a spot starter this week, I actually prefer Daryl Williams or Devonta Booker. Devonta Booker, Daryl Williams, and then Alex Collins, right? Alex Collins, you know, everybody went crazy because that's what Twitter does. When they found out Carson wasn't going to start, had an injured neck, you know, the expectations went through the roof. Like I had people ask me, should I start Alex Collins over Antonio Gibson? I was like, no. I mean, and perfect example, guys. Talent over everything. A lot of times we get caught up in the matchups. We're like, oh, well, Antonio Gibson, he's got the shin. He's placing New Orleans. And I told everybody, I was like, I'm not concerned about Antonio Gibson's shin. They didn't even know it was a stress fracture. They thought it was a bruise until they got an MRI. So it's very small. And we saw that. They gave him probably the most touches he's had all year, right? After we found out about the stress factor. I said, my bigger concern is New Orleans defense, okay? But I also said, you start your studs. And when I got all these ridiculous, should I start Alex Collins over Jonathan Taylor? I'm like, no. But here's the thing. So in that aspect, he might have disappointed some people, but you know, 9, almost 10 points from a backup running back is not the worst thing in the world. The matchup wasn't great. Again, it wasn't a matchup that you avoid, but it was the Rams, and the Rams have been pretty decent outside of what Zeke did to them. But Zeke has been doing that to everybody, right? But the more encouraging thing is that he looked good. He got workhorse-like touches. I think he had 15 carries, another 3 targets. He's a capable pass catcher, which I mentioned. He had, 25 receiving yards, I believe. So that was nice. And he actually did better when Geno Smith got in the game. But again, it's Pittsburgh. It's Geno Smith. He's still Geno Smith. So if you need a starter this week, but if you're a team that's, in pretty good shape, you're 3-2, and you want maybe players that can be more long-term pieces, then I like Alex Collins the best out of the 3 because, what I mentioned last week, the neck is the trickiest injury out of any other injuries. Like you could come back from a knee, you could come back from a strain, from, a back, but the neck, that's scary because the neck can even threaten your career. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think Alex Collins, even though Pete Carroll said, Carson looks a lot better, but the chance of re-injury, especially given Carson's history, is why if you're looking for that potential league winner, not that I think Alex Collins is a league winner or anything, but if you're looking for the best chance of a running back becoming a league winner, I think it's Alex Collins, even though, I definitely feel that The Seattle Seahawks losing Russ is a big hit to that offense, obviously. But with that said, I don't put nothing past Russ. If they say it's 4 to 6 weeks, I'm banking on 4. So if he comes back in a month and you have Alex Collins stashed away, that could be it might be an important piece for you down the road because running backs are hard to come by. And he got, I believe, close to 70% snap share. So it's not like he was sharing that backfield either. All right. My favorite receiver, I mean, this is a league winner now. Kadarius Toney. I'm mad I didn't mention him last waivers. I'm mad that I myself didn't pick him up for stupid reasons because here's another thing, Entourage. There's a lot of bad information in the fantasy world. I'm not going to mention names, and this is why I've told people this before. I sometimes try not to follow analysts, but it's hard because I do follow Twitter. I don't follow really analysts. I follow only the analysts that I support that are, that I'm in the expert leagues with. I support all these guys. But as far as other analysts, there's just so much bad information. Even these so-called doctors that, they've been saying just the craziest stuff. There's so much FUD. Anytime there's a little injury, all of a sudden these doctors come on and they just say stuff. I even saw one say that Jonathan Taylor had fluid drained out of his knee last week, and it was from a torn meniscus. And I was like genuinely scared. I'm like, damn, I've got a lot of Jonathan Taylor, And all Jonathan Taylor has done since then is had his 2 best games. And then I looked up his history. I didn't see any history of a meniscus tear. I didn't see any reports on him having his knee drained. Or no. Yeah. I mean, he might have had his knee drained, but I didn't see anything regarding them. Oh, no. I'm sorry. He had his knee drained. But he said that there was swelling in the knee and it was from a meniscus tear. Anyway, a lot of FUD. And then long story short, how this ties in. So I passed up on Kadarius Toney because I was worried about Antonio Gibson's shin. So I made sure to cuff him with Jared Patterson. So I'm kind of upset. But Kadarius Toney, guys, it doesn't take much to look at his games and realize this kid's a bona fide star. Like, I don't care if he only played 2 games. His separation, his footwork, his athletic ability, and his tenacity, which got him in trouble. He punched somebody, which I think the player deserved it, to be quite frank. I think Joe Judge is like the worst coach ever coming down on Kadarius Toney. If somebody slammed me like that, I'm sorry, I would have probably reacted the same way. So he could have got really hurt. Joe Judge is horrible, but that's a different story. But guys, this kid's a stud. If somebody didn't pick him up, if he's available, you guys are always asking me, is he worth for number 1 waiver? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't got him, trade for him. Really, really looks like a superstar in the making. Kadarius Toney. So other receiver I like, Marquez Callaway. You guys know I've been stubbornly holding on to him. I predicted it. I said it. This is the week. He had a lot of tough matchups. He had 1 decent game, and then 2 clunkers. He had like 2 games with 2 points, 1 with 9 points, 1 with 13, and then he blew up this last week with 25. And I told you guys, be a little patient with him just because the matchups were brutal. It was like Carolina, Xavier Alexander, James Bradbury, New England, So he finally came through. And if he's available, you got to sit him or you got to stash him this week because New Orleans is on a bye. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. But his next schedule, I think it was like Kansas City, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, like the easiest schedule ever. So Marquez Callaway is a really, really good waiver pick. Hunter Henry, now to our tight ends. Hunter Henry has looked really good, produced double-digit games in back-to-back weeks, touchdown in back-to-back weeks, getting really nice, consistent targets, 5, 6. This last week, he got 8. So I really like what I've seen out of Hunter Henry. So there seems to be a chemistry brewing with Mac Jones. Remember what I say about bad quarterbacks. Bad quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, they love the tight end because they can't really throw it. So they go for that little safety. So Hunter Henry, especially given the tight end climate's a really good play. And so is Ricky Seals-Jones. His first game got 8 targets, guys. 8 targets for a backup tight end. 8 targets for any tight end is a lot. 8 targets for a receiver is a lot. So you got to like that. Washington's a team that features the tight end. Okay. And Ricky Seals-Jones, a lot of people, he's actually a talent. Like, he's a really good player. Only 26. I like him. Put up 9 points, which that's great these days for tight end this first week. And guys, he plays Kansas City. You saw Dawson Knox put up 100 on them. Everybody's putting up numbers on them. So if you need a tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones is a really good play this week and possibly for the next couple of weeks as well. All right. So those are my favorite waivers. Daryl Williams, Devonta Booker, Alex Collins. I like Alex Collins the best long-term, short-term. Devonta Booker. Kadarius Toney's a star. Marquez Callaway could be a pretty good receiver. Great schedule coming up. You got to stash him. He's got to buy. Hunter Henry and Ricky Seals-Jones are 2 really good tight ends that could be available on waivers this week. And now the part that you guys have been waiting for. I know. Just don't ask me start sits because I haven't looked at the schedule. There's a couple games I know when I was looking at the waivers, but outside of that, I haven't looked at the schedule. So if it's waiver related, ask away. If it's trades, let's cover that tomorrow in the buy, sell, hold video. But yeah, let's open things up for you guys. All right, right off the bat, of course, a trade question. Antonio Gibson for Mike Williams. Gibson is my RB2, but my best wide receiver this week was Laviska and Tony. I'm also 1-4 in PPR. I mean, I don't know. It's a trade question, but well, first off, how is your best receiver Laviska and Tony? Like, what happened? Something went wrong. With that said, I mean, I would need to know the rest of your roster. I don't know if Mike Williams is going to be the answer. The only way that trade makes sense if you have a stud running back on your bench that you're not playing. If not, it's just a point swap at best. At worst, you might be giving up the better player. What up, Christian? Oh, you guys can feel free to super chat. Super chat is when you donate to the channel, which is really much appreciated. And I never ask, but I figure I would just because it's been 5 weeks and nobody's donated. I'm one of the few analysts that I know that goes and I literally answer all the questions. A lot of other analysts, they just see all these questions. They don't even take the time to answer them. I do. But it's never obliged. I just thought I'd throw that out there. You guys might not even been aware that it's even there, but it is. Need a streamer. I mean, if it's a 2 QB league, like, wouldn't all the quarterbacks already be taken? So, I mean, I can recommend you a streamer. I think Big Ben's a decent streamer this week against Seattle. Seattle can't stop anybody, and they're at home prime time. But I'm sure Big Ben, if it's a 2 QB league, is already taken. So I guess if you told me, oh, okay, you got the quarterbacks here for me. Goff, Bridgewater, Tua, Geno, Wentz. Yeah, I don't know quite the matchups, but I think Wentz has looked pretty good. So yeah, I'll probably go Wentz over those guys. Thoughts on Raiders players? I don't think the Gruden thing affects the players in any way. I don't quote me on this, but I think it was the offensive coordinator that took over as a head coach. So yeah, it's going to be the same offense, same system. Derek Carr's been there forever. He'll be probably calling the plays. So I don't really think that affects the Raiders in any way. Woods for Ridley, of course, you're gonna ask a trade. I don't know, guys. Really, I mean, it goes back to what I told the other person. It's like if Woods is on your bench, if he's not one of your top 3 receivers or whatever, but I heard Ridley's out indefinitely. Like the way they're acting is like he killed somebody or something. Like it's a really weird situation because we haven't heard anything about it. So if Woods for you is expendable, which I don't know many teams where it is, then yeah, I mean you're banking. Ridley's obviously better than Woods. It would be a no-brainer, but the problem is the uncertainty surrounding Ridley. So yeah, it depends, who your receivers are, whether you want to take that risk. But if you do make that trade, just know there is a possibility that Ridley will not play this year at all. Well, it's not that Booker is better than Daryl Williams. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, he is. Yeah. Daryl Williams is not going to get the amount of volume and touches that Devonta Booker will. He's just not. Devonta Booker is going to get workhorse type touches. That's the way the Giants roll. They roll one running back. Andy Reid, when has he ever, even his most successful running backs, they never really got like 20 carries a game or anything like that. And, some of them, like back in the day, Brian Westbrook really did it in the passing game. Jamal Charles was just like ultra efficient with his touches. But Andy Reid is not known for giving running backs like crazy volume. And Daryl Williams is not that good. His talent is an elite where he can just be ultra efficient with minimal touches. Add that to the fact that they might bring in another running back. I'm almost 100% certain they'll bring in another running back. I mean, because I mentioned earlier, I don't know when you came on, but Jerick McKinnon is not a running back. He's a kind of like a receiver, hybrid player, and he's injury prone. So that's why I think Devonta Booker, if you need a starter this week. Long term, Daryl Williams is slightly better just because CEH is going to be out longer. Saquon will probably be out this week. Knowing Saquon, he'll probably be back for week 7. But at the most, I would say, especially if it's a low ankle sprain, like they said, 2 weeks tops. Should I hold on to Tony Jones? No, he's droppable at this point. You could pick him back up later. Let's see, what time is it? I'm going to be heading out here soon, though. So if you guys have any questions, get them in before I leave. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate you. What do you think about Chris Carson moving forward with injury Russ out? Yeah, Chris Carson, he was on my do not draft list. He was on my sell list last week, even before the next stuff came out. Yeah, he's just like, I would take anything for Chris Carson right now. And I rarely say that. Remember, I usually say sell high. No, just get rid of him. Get rid of him. If you could get Javonte Williams for him, awesome. If you could package him with somebody for Javonte Williams, I would even do that. Sometimes you got to package these players because their value is so low. But Chris Carson, bye. Get rid of him. Thoughts on Khalil Herbert? I actually like Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert, because I don't like Damian Williams. So there's a possibility that Khalil Herbert becomes the main back. We already saw he had a 50-50 split, 18 carries. I was surprised. 18 carries, his first game filling in for Montgomery. split touches, snaps almost evenly, didn't get the targets. So I actually do like Khalil Herbert. Probably more than Daryl Williams and Devonta Booker, honestly. But Chicago's Bears offense is just not very good. It's not very good, and he's still currently splitting touches with Damian Williams, so he's a darty flex at best. But I like him. Who do we cuff? Eckler. Right now, Roundtree. It's not a must cuff like some of these other guys. Like I don't think Eckler gets hurt, and all of a sudden Roundtree comes in there and becomes Eckler. Like it's not like a Madison type of deal, but Roundtree would be the number one cuff right now. Van Jefferson, depending on the size of your roster and bench spots, yes, not a must add right now. He is someone that I think is going to be more relevant as the season progresses. But as of right now, it's not a must add. But yeah, he is an add if you have, if you're a 14, 16 team league, or if you're in a 12 team with extended benches, you got 7, 8 bench spots, something like that. Yeah. Same thing with Marshall. Marshall's another player, could be more relevant as the season progresses. Kind of like my late season stashes for people that are in, maybe be good in Dynasty too. But my second half, like week 8 on, I think we could see some of these players like Terrace Marshall, Van Jefferson, Gabriel Davis, some of these younger guys that are kind of, sitting behind some of the veterans. I think they could come on in the second half. So they're not must adds right now, but they're definitely players that you want to keep an eye on for. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to send out my premium content. If you're interested in the premium content, it's only $15 for the rest of the year. DM me at Fantasy Football Rapper on Instagram. Email me fantasyfootballrapper@gmail.com. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I love y'all. Peace. We out.